Hello everyone. I know it's been quite a while since I made a video, but this one was a long time coming. And as announced everywhere, yes, you are seeing this correctly. The beta for IKEMEN Void is finally here. And of course, with this project being a long time coming, I know there will be some questions, concerns, and other inquiries you would love to know and see. Well, that is what this video is for. In this video, we will be covering the following. A showcase of IKEMEN Void. Explaining what IKEMEN Void again, for anyone unaware. Why IKEMEN Void exists. Answering any potential questions about IKEMEN Void. And last but not least, providing more information on it, such as where to get updates, when the next beta will arrive, and so on and so forth. That being said, now that you know what's to expect, and you have the time, let's start with this. As you can tell, there is already a showcase going on in the background, as you can tell. So we will simply resort to reminding you guys what IKEMEN Void is. IKEMEN Void, in simpler terms, is basically if IKEMEN had the two major functions that made MUGEN amazing. Which is one, having cheapies of every kind and allowing people to make huge collections out of them. The reason why this is important is because the biggest hurdle in the MUGEN engine development has always been stability. Legacy characters, specifically nulls, hypernulls, postmen, and god-tier cheapies rely on memory corruption exploits to function. In the past, the moment these characters fired an exploit, the engine would trigger a hard crash to protect itself. The problem: the engine was designed to panic whenever it encountered buffer overflows or malformed bytecode. The solution: we have implemented a raw execution bypass in the backend. IKEMEN Void now utilizes an interceptor that absorbs these memory corruption attempts in real time, allowing them to register on the opponent without the engine halting. Simply put, we are somewhat reaching a point where you won't need to juggle WinMUGEN or 1X separately. IKEMEN Void is being built to be the unified home for all uniquely coded characters. IKEMEN Void exists for this main purpose. That being said, now that you have an idea of what it is, and why this beta is here, along with explaining why IKEMEN Void exists, let's now get into answering any and some questions I've gotten recently in regards of IKEMEN Void. Let's get started. Let's start with 1. Is IKEMEN Void going to replace my current MUGEN or IKEMEN installation? The answer to that is quite obvious. Yes and no. You see, IKEMEN Void main purpose and is catered to people who rather use one engine for everything old and new. IKEMEN is a new version of MUGEN, and MUGEN is MUGEN. So this version of IKEMEN is a combination of both. So if you want to, when IKEMEN Void is finished, it is up to you as a preference if you prefer to be like finally a good reason to switch to IKEMEN, or stick with your current MUGEN or IKEMEN setup if you don't care to. 2. Is this only cheapie-based or there's more to it? To explain that, it's not only cheapie-based, but it's collection-based as well, meaning if you want to run characters very old and new that aren't cheapie-related, but for some reason still don't run on base IKEMEN or MUGEN 1.1, then IKEMEN Void is definitely for you. IKEMEN Void and its progression will have a lot more benefits to it coming out rather than it being an engine that's 2-in-1 or multi-purpose. 3. Just like previous IKEMEN installations like IKEMEN and IKEMEN Plus Ultra, can I still add modules, add-ons like screenpacks and etc. on IKEMEN Void? The answer is yes. As you see in the video, you can technically add screenpacks, modules, and even still edit them. You can even still do network play, because after all it is just a modified version of IKEMEN. Doesn't remove its original features, just added missing features that MUGEN had for this thing. 4. What version of IKEMEN is IKEMEN Void made on? Simple, it's made on IKEMEN Nightly. And if anyone asks, if IKEMEN Nightly, I guess get any updates? No, IKEMEN Void itself will not have any updates, for it is standalone. Even so, most features and modules and functions should be able to work on IKEMEN Void regardless. 5. What cheapies can IKEMEN Void currently run on this beta? And when will the next beta be released? Any cheapie that's currently up to supernulls can run, from what I know so far, but then again, there is the usual bugs, so not an entire 100%. You can of course test, and see if ultranull can run, but I know so far hypernulls, frost tiers, and above cannot run properly yet keyword. Yet on this beta. The next beta will most likely be released probably many weeks later, or if there's any huge breakthroughs in general. After all, this beta is simply released for you all to test, report to me, and then I do my job and implement, fix, and commit changes onto the engine. 6. I noticed in your posts you always say us. Do you have anyone else helping you on this project? And if so, how can I join in? Yes, in fact, I have a real-life friend on WhatsApp, in which I don't want to name them for personal reasons. They don't want to be mentioned in THE video, or in the Mugen community in general, because trust me, he has an idea of how y'all be, so can't blame him. In which, who I've known for 2 years to now. Who is good at coding and is currently in college to get a computer science major, which is important because with that, you can learn Golang, Python, etc. For me, I only learned Python, Golang, even JS aka JavaScript when I was in high school making Discord bots, and learned from YouTube lol. But him, he knows his stuff, and TBH, I wouldn't have made it far without him. But yeah, if you want to join, just reach out to me via Discord and tell me what you'll contribute to the project. And then, you and I can work together on the files, and we can send the files back and forth, troubleshoot, etc. It's like a group project, 7. How did you even know and achieve all of this? This had to be very difficult because for the longest people never truly believed this was possible. So how? Simple, learning how cheapies worked code-wise somewhat, and with the help with my friend, along with just sitting down and taking the time to actually learn how the language for the engine worked. I took as much time as I could after work, or whenever I was free to learn the Golang language. If you don't know what Golang is, it's basically a open-source programming language supported by Google. Why else IKEMEN is called IKEMEN. It is based off of this language. I learned how it worked, and how it functioned along with how cheapies worked for a while now. Even though I will not lie, I will admit I still struggle, but do try either way. I did still try my best and well made it here. 8. What program/software was used to make this all possible? Easy. Here's a list, especially if you probably plan to help. 1. MSYS2, MINGW64, Go compiler, FFmpeg, and building the engine. 2. PowerShell/CMD, copying DLLs, testing launches, running scripts. And 3. Git, restoring your files after the stash workspace mishap. 9. Now that's discussed, is there a deadline to report issues and bugs on the engine? Nope, no deadline. This is a public project, meaning people can join in, report, and use it. So the reporting of feedback and bugs are always allowed, and it's actually highly encouraged since I aim to make this a complete project. And not stay a beta because lately a lot of things in Mugen or the IKEMEN scene has been staying as betas, and I refuse to join in on that law. 10. Why do I have to keep my DLLs in the root folder? And are you planning to monetize this project? So DLLs are important because they are for sound, and for the old school/cheapie characters to use them to run and other important functions. We've built an interceptor that absorbs those memory corruption attempts in real time, keeping the engine stable while letting the kills land. Now the last possible/general question. 11. When will you work on the aspect in which IKEMEN Void will operate similar to Mugen to handle tons of slots, and be able to run on low-end PCs? Well, considering the cheapie aspect we are handling first, this won't happen until maybe many weeks later on, or even a month. Since we are tackling the main aspect, and well, the final boss of the project, which is trying to get majority of cheapies to run. And since each tier of cheapie gets progressive harder to run on an engine based off of the Golang language, do not expect at all for us to reach that point, yet unless I've stated we got there. Sure, we got our first breakthrough that was good enough for us to release a beta, but the job is never done from here. We'll have betas like 1, 2, 3, etc. Until we finally reach The main one, just like how there's many different versions of each WinMugen, Mugen 1, IKEMEN, and Mugen 1.1 stated on wiki pages. We're moving toward a point where you won't need to juggle multiple versions of the engine just to run your favorite characters. As for monetization, hell no. This is a free open source engine that's just being modified to cater for old and new Mugen things, so this will never be monetized. If you see anyone attempt to sell this, please report them and let me know. Now, that's all been said. I will like to provide extra information on this project that may be of use. So, as you can tell in the video, I will like to mention this right now for anyone convinced on using this version of IKEMEN, and that is, yes, you're going to notice some lag. That's the price of performance. We're trading 60 FPS perfection for actual functionality right now, but optimization is top of the list. Another thing, if the engine won't boot, check your root folder. If those DLLs aren't sitting right next to the exe, it's not going to run. That's an easy fix, so please check that before hitting up support. And that if a character gets deleted from play, don't just say it's broken. Check your exploit debug, TXT, or the CMD that generates the bugs. That file tells us exactly what the engine saw. If you send me that log with your report, I can fix it 10 times faster. Remember, always make sure those required runtime DLLs stay in the same folder as the. If you try to move them around, the engine will stop booting. Don't let a missing file ruin your session. Comments are open. My Discord is open, etc. I am always open to feedback and reports. I think that is all I will have to say in this video. Thank you everyone for actually tuning in and having fun with this project. It makes me happy to hear that people are actually interested and willing to give this a go. Trust me, if the time comes you do switch from main Mugen or main IKEMEN to stick with IKEMEN, Void only, you won't regret it. We'll add FAQs, troubleshooting guides, etc. to make things all easier for you all soon. Have a blessed day, and have a great 4th of July.